friendly recording lady voice. Thank you for being here. It's wonderful to be here for all of you who are watching the recording live or online. It's wonderful to have you. We are back at our home from home here at Aslan Institute. As I was arriving this morning, I get here a little early to do a little cleaning around the place, make sure the bathrooms look okay, make sure the room has been swept, make sure there aren't any burned out light bulbs, I was thinking, I think it's been a little over 15 years that we've had a meditation group here, weekly sittings for a while, we did for a long time, mindfulness practice group on Sundays, regular meditation retreats, I think 15 years. I think it's been 15 years at the request of the owner many years ago. She said, if you did regular mindfulness offerings here, that would really be great because we encourage all the clientele. Mindfulness practice helps with body work and it helps with spiritual direction and it helps with therapy. It helps. Just wouldn't it be nice if we had regular offerings right here in the building? So I was like, oh, that's great. I'll do her a solid by having, a weekly drop-in sitting group and regular retreats and taught classes here together. And mindfulness practice group has been going all those years. I think it took me probably a dozen years at least to realize she was doing me a solid. I wasn't doing her a solid. This is how good teachers are, aren't they? They sneak up on you with their kindness and then you realize it decades later, oh, that was actually you helping me to give me the opportunity to practice teaching and to give me this space. So I'm very, very grateful to be here again. And now we go by a different name. It was just Aslan for a long time. Aslan Mindfulness Practice Group, Aslan Retreats, Aslan Sitting Group. Now we have a name since COVID that's a little different, but still the same thing we're doing, all of us. So I'm glad to be here with you. Today we are talking about a short passage from the Fukanzazengi. Some of you know what that is. For those of you who do not, and pardon me, let's see here if I can do this. I want to put this in the chat, and it's not going to let me put that in the chat. All right, Zoom folks, I will put it in the chat when the recording is done. I guess when you're recording, you can't do it. This passage will be very familiar to a lot of you. To some of you, it will not, and that's okay. The background here is Fukanzazengi is a mouthful of a spelling word. Anybody who can spell it correctly gets free retreats for a year. It's a Japanese word that means, you can hear the zazen in the middle of it, Fukanzazengi. It's about sitting meditation. Right? Zazen is the word that we use in Zen for sitting meditation. The za is to sit, and the word zen, of course, is to meditate. So Fukanzazengi is usually translated recommending meditation universally, or the universal recommendation for zazen. It's about a 3-page, does that sound right? I'm looking at the Zen nerds.
Forever pages.
Forever pages. It's 3 or 4 pages depending on your print size, but it seems to go on forever. It's very, very commonly chanted at the end of the day during longer Zen retreats. So a lot of folks, after reciting it X number of times, actually memorize it. It's not actually super horrible to memorize, but it does go on a bit. And what it encourages folks to do, of course, it encourages sitting meditation. And there's a middle section in this piece that actually gives you instructions. Here's what you do with your left foot. Here's what you do with your right foot. Here's what you do with your mat. Here's how you arrange your robes. It gives you very practical. It's intended for people in a monastery, I'm sure, because of the detail in the posture instruction. But the beginning of it and the end of it are kind of the perspective of Dogen. Eihei Dogen is the teacher who wrote this 800 years ago. The power and the beauty of the thing that we do when we're meditating. And so the little section that I've chosen today goes thusly. Put aside the intellectual practice of investigating words and chasing sayings. and learn the backward step that turns your light inwardly to illuminate yourself. Body and mind of themselves will drop away, and your original face will be manifest. If you want to attain suchness, diligently practice suchness without delay. Put aside the intellectual practice of investigating words and chasing sayings, and learn the backward step that turns your light inwardly to illuminate yourself. Body and mind of themselves will drop away, and your original face will be manifest. If you want to attain suchness, diligently practice suchness without delay. So it's familiar to some of us, and as I say, as I know, not familiar to others of us. It's a beautiful little section. I can see why it's quoted as often as it is. It's one of the most quoted sections probably of Fukanzazengi. And there's a lot there. It's a very Dogen kind of passage. Why do I want to talk about it today? I want to talk about it today because this is going to seem roundabout, but I'll get there. I used to work at Target in the stockroom a long, long time ago. The stockroom that most folks never see. It's the big warehouse in the back, right? And I learned when I worked at Target in the stockroom that if you have a 6-pack of light bulbs and one of those light bulbs gets broken, they throw away all of them. This is standard retail stuff, right? You can't grab those and take them out and repackage them and rewrap them. You throw away the whole thing, right? This isn't about Target. This is just about American retail, but the waste is almost inconceivable, the amount of things that we throw away. It's crazy. So I'm working at Target, and day after day after day, stuff is getting pitched. And I said, there's 5 good light bulbs there. There's 5 perfectly good light bulbs right there, and that thing's on the conveyor belt heading to the musher. Is it ethically okay to take those 5 light bulbs off of the conveyor heading to the musher, put them in my backpack, and take them home with me? I will leave that up to you to decide whether or not that's ethically okay. The rule was absolutely not. That's a fireable offense. That's stealing. I mean, flat out. I'm like, so the options are me or the landfill. And they're like, no, this is black and white. You take that thing out of the store, you are gonzo. So you have to sneak it out of the store. Hypothetically. Hypothetically, let's just say a backroom employee hypothetically decided to rescue, maybe he even used the word rescue, perfectly good light bulbs, right? And hypothetically, let's say over the years that this person, now anonymous, worked at Target, rescued all sorts of different light bulbs of all sorts of different wattages and sizes and all that kind of stuff. Hypothetically. So hypothetically, if this past week, the little light that's by his computer desk, bulb burns out, he goes to the closet and grabs another bulb, that could be any number of things. It could be a 3-way 120, it could be a 60 watt, it could be a true color, it could be one of those old kind of yellowy ones. You get where I'm going, right? Light bulbs is the theme. And random light bulbs, right, is the follow-up theme. So I put that little new bulb in and, oh yeah, it's yellower than the one before and a little brighter and da-da-da. Each time, it's a little bit of a light bulb lottery. Which got me to thinking, when I show up here at Aslan Institute, 45 minutes or so, let's say, before the retreat's going to start today, I walk in the door over there and I turn on the light. Or I could also say I turn on the lights. Because you can see there's like 20 light bulbs in this room, probably, on right now. And so it'd be perfectly fine to say the light is on. Hey, did you turn on the light in the conference room? Yeah, light's on. Did you turn on the lights in the conference room? Yep, lights are on. They're both equally true. So when I replace the light bulb in my lamp at home, I have light again. I'm not particularly attached to that particular bulb any more than if I got here this morning and I turned on the lights and one of these was burned out. I'd have to run upstairs, grab a new spotlight, grab a chair, come over here, stand on the chair, replace the bulb. This is my metaphor. We usually think we're the bulb. We are very, very, very identified with this body and this mind, the vehicle for consciousness, right? We're very identified with this particular vehicle. I'm very fond of this particular vehicle. It's my favorite one. It has a name and it has a history. Golden Valley it was born in. Can you imagine? Golden Valley, right? And it lives inside of time, and it has family, and it has preferences, and a personality, and a favorite TV show, and a favorite sandwich. It has a favorite sandwich. Look at all the light bulbs. And they all have a favorite sandwich, you know? And they all have different kilometer distances from this place. And yet, in this room, the light is on. I think a lot of people who have done meditation retreats over the years, especially when their hearts and minds get a little still and a little more open. You walk into the meditation hall after a break or after lunch, or you use the restroom, and you come in and everybody is already sitting. And you see all these people sitting and you just go, it's a room full of Buddhas. It's really clear. Ever had that experience just going, look, it's a room full of Buddhas? Or Buddha is here. In this shape, and this shape, and this shape, and this shape, and this shape. So it's a neat metaphor. The light is on. The lights are on. Both are true. So, turn the light inwardly, is what Dogen says. He calls it a backward step, which I actually like. I didn't understand that for quite a while, but I like the word backward step. I don't know the original Japanese, so I have no idea how liberal or how loose that translation is, but this is kind of the standard translation. Most people translate it as turn your light inwardly. There's that sense that most of our waking time during the day, driving our cars, talking to our rellies, going to work, our light is shined outward. Oh, look at Elizabeth. Oh, she brought her own quilt. That's so beautiful. I'm so glad she's taking care of herself that way. Oh, Barb drove 100 kilometers to get here today, along with Mary Jude and Joey. Look at the out, names, personalities, out. Make sense? And since Fukanzazengi is about meditation, he's reminding us, you set the timer, you hear the bell, and now it's time to learn to turn the light inward. It takes a while to learn this, doesn't it, for all of us? Where's the body? There it is. I'm experiencing it from the inside. Where's the movement of my emotion? There it is. I'm watching all those emotions arise and change. Like clouds, they turn into another shape. They pass off into another experience. They blur into each other. I notice the same thing around the landscape of thought. They arise, they change. They form into little clouds, little clusters. They get still, they get busy. Off they go. We get pretty good at doing that, I think. Turning the light inwardly and watching. We start to see the relationship between what we experience out and what happens in. Right? I noticed it like just a few minutes ago because I was in the other room there where I'm going to meet with people, and I've got my bag in there, and I was looking at my little Fukanzazengi passage going, oh, I forgot what I was going to talk about today. What am I going to talk about? Oh, maybe I'll talk about light bulbs. And I was kind of lost in my daydream about working at Target. This hypothetical person who used to work at Target, this fictional character. And I walked out of the office, and Meredith's rakusu was folded up on the counter next to the bathroom. And I had this really warm feeling, oh, she's leaving her rakusu outside of the bathroom because that's the rule. Goes into the restroom, come back out, put her, right? The two restroom doors here have little hooks on the inside. Of course, this is a clinic. This isn't a Zen center. There aren't any hooks outside of a bathroom to put your rakusu on. There's no little ledge, there's no altar. We have to make do aisles go in, and I take mine off and put it on the little hook inside. But I thought, oh, Meredith has left her rakusu outside. And I got this really beautiful feeling of like, oh, look at that, how she's caring for this thing. That's so beautiful. So that's part of the weather of the light bulb, right? I had that feeling, and then it changed into nervousness, because I got to talk about this. And then it changed into something else, and then it changed into something else, and it changed into something else. I'm glad to be taking his advice today, as you all are, to be turning the light inwardly to illuminate. Illuminate myself. And that's an interesting choice of words, and I'm choosing not to investigate that word today, because I think that's another talk probably, to illuminate yourself. The reason I say that is because that sentence is, learn the backward steps that turns your light inwardly to illuminate yourself. There are two yours. And one is the light that's shining, and one is the self that's being shined upon. It is a different talk. They're both us, the bulb, the vehicle for consciousness, and the light, preeminent. But the way the translator has used this, has used our language, they are separate, they are different, and they're also the same. It's accidentally quite skillful. Again, another talk for another day. But here's what I want to talk about today. Body and mind of themselves will drop away, and your original face will be manifest. That's a very, very famous saying, and it ties in with a whole bunch of other writing from him that I will not go into today. About the experience of awakening. Body and mind dropping away is a really famous saying in Zen. Dogen uses it a lot. Body and mind of themselves will drop away. Oh dear, that sounds dramatic. Sometimes when that passage is used, it is indeed part of describing a very dramatic experience. Today, I want to invite you to see it as not necessarily very dramatic. I want to talk about it as something that's actually as ordinary as changing a light bulb. I'm not saying it's not miraculous. I think it is miraculous. But I don't necessarily think that body and mind of themselves will drop away and your original face will be manifest, is defined by a big emotional experience. Maybe sometimes it is. But when I turned on the lights coming into this room today, I didn't have a big emotional experience. If one of the bulbs had been burned out and I had to replace it, I probably wouldn't have had a big emotional experience. Nothing wrong with that. Illuminating yourself and then body and mind of themselves dropping away are related ideas. When we sit and we're bearing witness to a body that is a changing landscape of sensations, as we watch the experience of the body change during the course of a sitting, if we're sitting for half an hour, and we watch the experience of the left knee go from pain to kind of numb to, ooh, sharp. Maybe you better move, to moving it a little bit, stretching it out a little bit. Oh, that's better. You can feel like the sensations is changing. This is like the weather of the knee. It was fine, and then it wasn't fine, and then it was sharp, and then it was dull, and it was moving around. And you watched it, and you watched it, and you watched it. And then you also watched, oh boy, the right knee, no pain at all. The right knee seems pretty good today. And you noticed how that first breath was really deep, moved way up, and then the second one after that was actually kind of shallow, and it was more down here. And then you started noticing, I think I was cold, but then I got warm, and then I got cold again. Is that the air conditioner in here moving around, or should I put the blanket up further on my lap, or should I adjust the thermostat and how this part of my face feels cold and this part back here doesn't feel cold? Can you see how I'm just using the light to investigate the experience of the self? I'm just watching it. But what's also happening is I'm becoming moment after moment identified with the watcher, identified with the light. I'm the one who's seeing it. I'm the one who's shining on it. It's not separate really from me, but it's also kind of not me. I'm the one who's watching it. Isn't it interesting how the leg hurts and then it doesn't, and then the back is a little tense and then it's not, and then the skin is a little cold and then it's not, and then the feeling is sort of sad and then it's not, and then it's sort of anxious and then it's not, and it's so busy and then it's not, and then it's thinking about dad again, and then it's not. It's thinking about traffic. How will the traffic be at 3 after he rings the bell, right? And then the traffic thing turns into something else. You start thinking about your teacher, and you start thinking about your grandma, and then you start thinking about grilled cheese. Boy, 3 different people like grilled cheese, right? I'm suggesting that that is an experience of body and mind dropping away. They're not disappearing, right? He's not saying when you meditate properly, you stop existing in form and your body becomes invisible and you disappear into the ether. No. That's way too dramatic. That would make an awesome scene in a movie, by the way. But in real life, nope. That's not what body and mind dropping away is. It's just, oh yeah, my identification with the bell has stopped. I'm just realizing it's not me. I can hold it, I can feel it, I can touch it, I can hear it. It's part of my experience. My light is illuminating it. It's just not me. And so, as I set that aside, it drops away. Put aside the practice, he says. The brain practice, the intellectual practice of, ooh, I wonder what he meant by, oh, that would be a cool, oh, I should add that book to my reading list, right? This is awesome. This is how we study Zen. It's how we study meditation. It's how we study prayer. It's beautiful that we do that. I like the term put aside because it does sort of suggest you can pick it up again later. Don't worry, you can go back to the Pema Chodron book. It'll be there when you're done. It's perfectly fine. She's got a lot to offer. Put your bell aside. That's okay. Put aside your planner. Please put aside your calendar. Please put aside your, just because we're going to do something a little special. We're going to just set that aside for a little while and we're going to do something special. It's why I do feel moved when people choose to come to these rooms. And when I say these rooms, I mean right now Aslan, but I mean every Zendo you've ever been in, every sanctuary you've ever been in, every church you've ever been in, a space that really is devoted to illumination, to the recognition of enlightenment in all things. And you think, I'm setting aside something so that I can go back home again to the light I always am and always have been and always will be and can never, ever, 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 ever not be. And so everything that falls within the sphere of my awareness, everything that shows itself to the light, it's illuminated, it's welcomed in, it's connected to, it's not separate from, there it is. But it's also not owned. It's not grabbed. It's not identified with me anymore. Do you feel sort of what we're going for here? Something happens to us when we think something is us. We grab. When I think this body's me, I grab. When I think that person in my life, that relationship is mine, I grab. As soon as there's identification, as soon as there's ownership, it turns into possession. This is what egos do. It's not a problem. They do that. It's just what they do. But there's something about the idea of the opening of the hand, opening the hand of thought, they sometimes call Zazen. And here he's just saying, just shine a light on it. Light has no fist. Light has no fingers. Light has no grabbing. Right? There's just connection there. So body and mind dropping away. Yeah, sure, that can describe a very dramatic experience. That's cool. If you've had a big experience or big experiences on the cushion, wonderful. That's wonderful. Some people do. But I think we're quick to discount those small moments of, oh yeah, the exhale's warmer than the inhale. Just for a second, there's just awareness there. There's not grabbing, there's not ownership, there's not identification. There's the original faith. Isn't that cool? I love the phrase original face. The idea of Busho is secondary. There's an original face. And so finally, he says, we can say, if you want to attain suchness, diligently practice suchness without delay. That's a confusing sentence for most of us. I understand that's confusing. Suchness is a really weird word here. It's one of the ways, I actually don't know the original script, so I'm going to make a guess. My guess is it's one of the ways that I'm going to guess it's a translation of shamatha, or I'm sorry, I'm guessing it's a translation of sunyata. Emptiness, the word emptiness is translated as suchness, sometimes thusness, sometimes emptiness, sometimes. I'm going to guess that's a reference to the Sanskrit idea of shunyata, and it doesn't matter in this case. What does matter in this case is the way Dogen's brain works and the way we are practicing today. What he is equating is attaining with practicing. If you want to attain blank, then practice blank. It's the same thing. If you want to attain blank, then practice blank. That's difficult for us. I'm pointing to my head because this is a binary organ and it has a very, very, very hard time accepting the principle that to practice something is to be enlightened by it. Practice and enlightenment are the same thing. For Dogen, he was kind of famous for taking these two ideas and mushing them together, making a compound word and saying we can no longer separate the idea of practicing and being awakened. They are not two different things. They're literally not to attain or to realize or to practice. And the thing you are searching for are the same thing. Please don't separate them. So here we have him saying, if you want to attain, then practice. No delay, no gap. So why does that fit in with our light bulb story? Because I know that's kind of a difficult idea for most of us. Is when we are sitting here together in this beautiful space, this virtual space, this physical space, whether you are practicing mindfulness, whether you are doing centering prayer, whether you are doing zazen, whether you're just trying your best to stay inside of your own experience for 6 hours, oh my God, only 3 3/4 more, right? Even if it's just that. There is still the miracle that he is describing in Fukanzazengi happening all the time. And the miracle is just the seeing. I see. I see it. Whatever it is. I hear the sound of the planes. We're on a flight path here to the airport, right? The airport's over the river. I feel the body. I notice the hunger. I notice the feelings. I watch the thoughts. The reason that's the miracle is because in those beautiful moments and in the intention that you brought to this place today, that we talked about at the very, very place, there's a marriage of, even if it's not within full awareness yet, there's already the embodiment of a being. All of you are this being, as am I. We're all bulbs, right? There's an apprehension for all of us. I must be more than what I can see. I must be more than the bulb. I must be more than just the vehicle. I must be. I must be more than the sadness. I must be more than the fear. I must. I must be more than the preference. I must be more than the story. Some part of you must already know that in order to pursue knowing that. I know that feels like a paradox. I understand. I've come to really feel deeply how true that is. It isn't our ignorance that looks for wisdom. It doesn't. Ignorance doesn't look for stuff. Wisdom does, though. Wisdom looks for wisdom. Isn't that funny? It does. Wisdom looks for wisdom. Light illuminates. That's what it does. So like you already are the thing. And so the timer goes off and then we sit and it's just nothing but a flurry. And the plane, I wish I was on that plane. Or I wish they would shut up. How come we're trying to meditate? Or oh, it's too cold in this room. No matter what we do, it's always too cold in this room. Or I don't know, whatever the thing is, whatever the show is. I hope my daughter's vomiting doesn't come back. I hope my, I don't know. I hope my ex has a horrible day. Oh, whatever. Can you just feel there's just a sense of like, well, surely in order for you to be doing this practice today, there must be some apprehension. I have to be more than just all of that. I know that all of that disappears. I know that it does. I know it disappears. We pass by cemeteries every single day. We know that this disappears. It changes into something else, but we know it does. None of us know the middle name of our great-great-great-great-grandmother. None of us. We don't know how she felt the first day of spring, when she felt how warm it was on her skin. We can't actually say. We can guess, but she's gone. And also not gone, impossible to be gone, because when we replace the light bulb, do you feel it? Light is still there. Light is still there. Light has always been. I'm a bulb for a little while, and then I'm the light. I always have been the light. Can you feel how to illuminate is to be the thing? That's the thing. That's the thing. So I want to thank you, Dogen. Thank you, Dogen, for being so confusing and so strange and so weird. 800 years ago, writing this wonderful thing down. Thank you to the people who translated it into a language that I can understand. Someday, I'm sure I'll talk about this passage again. I hope so. And I'll probably see a whole bunch of stuff in it that I don't see today. For all of the people that I used to work with at Target who secretly stole light bulbs, thank you. I actually think that matters. I'm glad it got to do the thing it was meant to do. It's funny, we have to break the rules sometimes to let something true happen. Isn't that funny? So, I think that's as much as I need to say about this passage. For those of you who are into this kind of stuff, do a search for Fukanzazengi. There are many, many different commentaries on that very famous passage. There are lots of different translations of it. When you're done doing Zazen, boy, then take the intellectual practice of chasing sayings and investigating words, pick it back up again. It's wonderful. It's wonderful. I'm just grateful for it today because it's reminding me that what we're doing here has connotations and ripples and connections that we'll never actually get to see. And I take his final line that to practice something is to attain it. I take that really seriously, and it always feels kind to me to be reminded. I can feel the anxiety in my striving, and it's nice to have kind of Grandma's hand on my face from time to time that reminds me, it's okay. It's beautiful that you strive. There's a beauty in that, but I also want you to remind yourself that you're already there. Both are true. There's a great grace to that message for me. So thank you for your attention. I'll turn the recorder off. Thank you for all of you who are watching at home. More to come, I'm sure.